Good afternoon, everybody. This is what we're going to call Smokin Tater Talks. Um, just kind of sitting around this afternoon thinking about um, the day, the weekend, the weather. We finally got a bunch of good rain. We got over 2.5 inches of rain here at my house. Thankful for that. We've been posting some videos of different things and been telling you all to give me some recommendations, give me some suggestions on what I should do videos on. And some of you all has said, why don't you open your tackle box up and tell us about some of the stuff in your tackle box? Well, that's not a bad idea, but I'm gonna give you a little secret. You're not getting all my secrets. So I'm gonna go through this tackle box of mine. Um, I've got various things I want to talk about, various things I want to pick out and show you. Um, but we're gonna start kind of doing these Smokin Tater talks. You give me some suggestions what to talk about. This afternoon it's going to be about various fishing baits. So what we're going to do, we'll take a tray. I'm going to open it up, and I got different trays. I have this Bass Pro bag here. It holds like it. I think it actually supposed to hold 4 trays, but I can squeeze 5 and 6 in there, make it pretty tight, and it's got all these deep pockets. You can really fill it up. But I like to organize my trays by plastic worms. Another one like plastic lizards. Another one jigs and crankbaits and so on and so forth. Um, as you can imagine, you accumulate a lot of baits over the years. But I'm going to show you a worm here. Like I said, it's not going to be one of my top picks by no means. But I want to show you what a plastic worm kind of looks like. This is what a plastic worm would look like. You would take a bullet sinker, put on the tip of it, and of course you would have probably a number 3 or number 4 aught hook, a worm hook that you would put on there, and then you would Texas rig it. That's what they call it, Texas rigging. Um, this ain't a color that I've probably ever thrown, to be honest with you. Don't know that I ever would. But I'm just using this for an example. You would Texas rig a worm like this, and then when you cast it, it would go down the bottom, and it would work the bottom. The tail would float up like this, and you just jig it along the bottom, and it would imitate a worm, like feeding along on the bottom of the rocks, bottom of the lake. But this is what a plastic worm kind of would simulate. There's all different kinds. You got worms, you got lizards, you got brush hogs, you got baby brush hogs, you got little bitty lizards, you got big long worms, you've got little short worms. The sky's the limit with all that kind of stuff, and of course the sky's the limit with all the colors, as you can imagine. If you've ever been to a fishing section or anything like that, you know there's colors galore. And you know, sometimes you think, well, maybe they do that, maybe they do the colors just in case the fisherman's eye. Well, that might be true to a certain point. But when you think about the different colors they got and the what they're trying to capture, what they're trying to imitate, it's there to spark the fish's interest. The smell, the look, the flashiness, whatever it may be, or if it's a different kind of season, they might not be wanting nothing that's as bright and colorful, and they're a little bit slow moving. The colder the water gets, the slower they're going to slow way down, and you kind of got to more or less put it right in front of their face, and you got to give them something that's going to be appetizing, something that's going to they're going to want to get a hold of. So you got to think about that, and you kind of got to become the fish if you think about it. You got to think about the fish at the bottom of the lake, or hanging on a cliff wall, or hanging on a ledge, or hanging on a point, or whatever. What he is sitting there waiting for, what the water conditions are like, how the water's flowing, maybe, or whatever it may be, or if there's bait fish around, or whatever it may be. The moon plays a big part, especially here where we live here in Kentucky. The moon plays a big part. You got your full moon time that everybody likes to go to places like Cumberland and stuff, and smallmouth fish, because that's when the crawfish begin to hatch, and so you're going to throw baits resembling things like that. You got times that when it's the dark of the moon, and you want to use different baits for the dark of the moon. I can tell you, I have fished full moon nights and I fish dark nights, and there's been times on full moon nights that you start looking for a dark bank, because that full moon is so bright that it's shining on the bank, and it's almost too bright. So you find a dark bank, you find a shady bank. You just gotta understand the conditions. You gotta understand what you're working against, what you're fishing against. So that was a plastic worm. Over here, I've got a couple of trays of crankbaits. Now, when it comes to crankbaits, there again, the sky's the limit. You know, there's a bunch of them. There's a lot of things to choose from, a lot of colors to choose from. I mean, there's a plethora of colors. You know, so here again, you got to think about the time. You got to think about the season. You got to think about the weather and things of that nature. I'm going to open both of these up and kind of give you an idea. Like if it was early in the spring, early on in the spring, you would throw a red one. I'm just gonna pull a red one out here, just a various red one. You would throw a red one similar to that. They like that bright red early on in the spring. You know, you would think that they wouldn't want something like that, but it kind of resembles early fry. And, it resembles different things early in the spring of the year. You would also want to throw like a shad color bait. Um, Here again, I'll throw you another one up. Getting them untangled is the key. You'd want to throw like a shad color bait. You'd want to throw something that would catch your eye early on in the spring. Um, and then as the season progresses, of course, you get into the more of the summer months, more of the heat of the summer months. You're going to want to throw just a regular tiger crankbait. I mean, fire tiger is a common color. There's a plethora of them. And look, I'm just going to pull these out and show them to you. Look, there's a plethora of fire tiger crankbaits. So that's a big summertime color. And then as it gets to be fall, the kind of year we're in right now, you're going to want to throw browns. You're going to want to throw oranges. You're going to want to throw colors similar to the season, similar to what you're working with. You're even going to want to throw some darker colored baits, maybe even some bone colored baits. You got to just like I said, you got to just understand the season and know what you're working against. Now, those are crankbaits. Those are kind of action baits. And there again, if the fish are active, they're going to hit them. If the fish are chasing bait fish, they're going to hit things like that, and they're going to go after things like that. But as the season goes and the winter months come along, and the water temperature starts getting colder, the fish are just going to start just moving slower. They still eat, folks. I'm going to tell you something. Just like me and you, we eat all the time, and the fish they eat all the time. They just might not eat as much, and that's the reason why usually in the winter months they're going to eat a bigger meal. They're going to get a bigger meal because they don't want to work for it as hard, so they're going to slow down. They're going to get something big that's going to be filling to them, and that way they can just kind of just lay around and do whatever they want to do. That leads us to jigs. Um, I'm gonna be real with you. Jig fishing is probably one of my favorite things. I like to jig fish probably better than I do throwing a worm. You got people that like throwing worms. You got people that like throwing crankbaits or spinner baits. I'm more of a jig guy. You give me a jig and let me pair it up with a trailer, and I'll fish it all year round. I'll fish it from January all the way through December. But there again, it's color choices, and it's what kind of colors you want to throw. I'm going to show you one here that if I was going fishing um, this weekend, tonight, or whatever, not really knowing the water conditions, I'd probably have something like that right there tied on. Just a regular old brown jig with a brown trailer. Now, there's other ones I can show you, but I'm not going to. Um, for the lack of conflict of interest. How about that? Um, I don't tournament fish, but I know people still do, and friends of mine still do. So therefore, I don't want to tell everything because I'm still on their side and still in favor of them. So um, jig fishing is pretty big around here. It really is. Harrington, Cumberland, places like that's got them big, deep, rocky banks. You tie on a jig and pair it with your favorite kind of trailer with you want a color that matches it, of course. And there again, the trailers are they're just unreal. The different kinds of trailers you can get. Different companies make all different kinds of trailers, different styles. So there again, it's all some of it's preference. What kind of jig do you want to buy? What branded jig you want to buy? What branded trailer do you want to pair it with? I've got my brands of jigs. I got my brands of trailers that I prefer. So again, why do I prefer them? They're the ones I've had the most luck with. They're the ones that I feel confident in, and that's what fishing's all about. A lot of people think, well, it's about luck. I guess you could say it's about luck to a point, but you got to have confidence in what you're throwing. If you ain't got confidence in what you're throwing that's going to catch a fish, then don't even throw it. Tie on something else and get some confidence in something else. And that's where favorite baits come into play, because you have a lot of confidence in what you're throwing, and it becomes your favorite, and you begin catching fish on it. And next time when you go out to go fishing, I've got 5 or 6 reels that I keep in my boat, and every one of them more than likely is gonna have every one of my favorite on there. So that's what I want you to think about. You know, what is your favorite? Just like going hunting. You're not gonna go hunting somewhere that you don't think you're gonna kill something. You're gonna have your spot. You're gonna have your spot picked out. You're gonna do your homework. You know, that's something I was taught when I got into deer hunting quite a bit. You got to do your homework. What does that mean? That means you get in the woods and you walk the woods and you learn the woods and you learn where the deer is traveling. You learn what's going on. You know everything about them. You know what time they get up. You know what time they walk. You know what time they stir around. You know their every move. It does the same thing with fishing, folks. You got to get out there and you got to fish and you got to fish and you got to know where the fish are living. You got to know where they move. Like when the temperature drops, you got to know they're going to move to this spot. You got to know when the water comes up, they're going to go here and they're going to go over here and hold in this area. So you got to think about all those things. It's all about strategy. It's all about doing your homework. It's all about knowing what you're doing. Um, it kind of, same way with fishing line. I've got a roll of fishing line here. This is a 10-pound test. Um, but what I want to show you is it's XL. This is Bass Pro brand. This is one of the cheaper lines you can buy, but it's one of the lines that I like. One, I'm not big on spending just big bunch of money and things like that. But I find a line that works best for me. So, I use that XL Bass Pro line. 10-pound test. I would use that 10-pound test on a medium action rod. I would use it with some crankbaits and stuff like that to give it more action. But my go-to line is 14-pound test. I know people use a 17. I know people use a 20. There again, it's whatever you feel comfortable with, with what you're doing with the application and things like that. That's just a real brief fishing of what would I do, what would I use. Shared with you just briefly, some of the baits that I have, and like I said, it was very brief. Um, I don't, I don't want to really necessarily open up my tackle box and show you everything. I just show you here's this and here's what I would do. You go and find your color. You go and find your style. You go and find which works best for you, and that's what you use, and that's what you have confidence in. If you have confidence in a cane pole, and a worm, and a red worm, and a minnow, then so be it. You go for it. But you're not going to be able to fish tournaments or anything like that with something like that, because you can't use live bait. So artificial bait's a whole lot different. And it opens up a whole big window. Now, with all that being said, I've been blessed. The Lord's good to His people, and He's been good to me. And I've had some fans of mine, some followers of mine, however you want to say it, um, be kind and send me some gifts. Um, they this YouTube channel, we started off just having a little bit of fun with it and stuff. It's not grown tremendously, but I believe it can grow, and I believe with your help it can grow. So what can you do to help it grow? Well, first of all, you can like, you can subscribe, and you can share it. I know you got friends. I mean, surely I'm not your only friend. So share it with your friends, and your friends share it with their friends, and let's grow this YouTube channel. I want to invite guests to come on here. I want to have people come on here. Maybe some of you all come on here, and we'll sit down and we'll chat about fishing. We'll chat about hunting. We'll chat about something you want to chat about. We'll chat about the Lord. We'll talk about the Bible. Whatever we want to do. Um, like I said, we're going to do what we can. But anyway, I want to get back to um, some of my fans buying things for me and sending me things. If you ain't noticed, I'm wearing a microphone. I hadn't been wearing a microphone. I've been kind of doing my own thing and just, however. And I tried it out. If y'all watched any of the Wasp videos, I was actually trying that out during them Wasp videos. But I have this microphone here, and I'm going to show you. This is what it is. It is wireless lavalier microphone. This right here. It's a microphone that it plugs in right into the bottom of my phone. and it come with 2 microphones. It come with a charger. They're wireless. You plug them up. You plug that into your phone, and now hopefully we got better sound. Hopefully you can hear me better. And I want to thank the viewer, and I want to thank the subscriber, and I want to thank the one that sent me that. I won't call them out by name. They asked that they wouldn't be called out, but they said I could share it. So I want to give a shout out to them. I want to thank them. That was a blessing to be able to have these microphones, and that's going to open up a whole window of opportunities. As you can see, look, I got a microphone on and I got another one. So you know what that means? I need somebody to sit next to me and let's do a video together. So um, like I said, I want to thank that person. They're wireless lavalier microphones. If you want to get on there and look them up, look them up. We're not sponsored by these people or nothing like that. I'm not saying nothing like that, but I will say they're good microphones from what I can tell. Another viewer, another subscriber, give me a real nice surprise. As y'all know, I'm the Smokin Tater. I like to smoke meats. I like to barbecue. I like to do things, like that. Of course, we talk about fishing. We talk about all different things. But I had another viewer send me a not real nice surprise. I can't even say it. I'm so excited to share with you all. But first of all, I don't know what to show first. What should I show first? I think I'll show the shirt. I got a shirt. Can you see the shirt? Can you read what it says? It says, "Pig out at Smokin Tater's Pig Roast, Lancaster, Kentucky." What about that? Sent me a shirt, just my size, and I'm thankful for that. I'm excited about it, and I'm going to wear it every chance I get. Of course, you can't see it. I got overalls, so I'm usually going to cover it up. Maybe I'll wear it over top of my overalls. I don't know. But anyway, we got this real nice shirt. So thankful for that. I'd like to tell you I'm going to start selling shirts and that you can order them. If you're interested in one of these shirts, leave a comment. Share it with me, and we'll figure out. I'll talk to this subscriber that sent them to me, and we'll figure out if we can order a plethora of them. I don't know, but we'll see what we can do. So we got a shirt. Pig out at Smokin Tater's Pig Roast, Lancaster, Kentucky. I guess I'm going to have a pig roast now. Have a pig roast and invite all my friends over. And along with that, he gave me a hat. Now this is what I like. It says, if I can read it, "Many have eaten wild game, few have died. Smokin Tater Barbecue." See that? Many have eaten wild game, but few have died. I'm one of those few because I've eaten my share of wild game and I ain't never died from it. That's something the good Lord's given us. He's given us the wild game. He's given us the fish. He's given us all these things that we can eat and that we can partake in. So I want to challenge you as Smokin Tater Barbecue. Many have eaten, few have died. Wild game, eating wild game, few have died. You want to be some of the few? You want to be part of the few? Do you want a hat like this? Let me know. We'll figure out how to get more of these hats made. I got a feeling that once this logo has been created, I believe we can get a supply of them. So if we get enough ordered, we can put it together. And I don't know what the price will be. We'll have to figure out what the prices are and all those kinds of things. But anyway, Smokin Tater Barbecue, wild game. Many have eaten, few have died. I'm going to take this hat off. I'm going to put this hat on, and you're going to start seeing me wear this hat more often. You're going to start seeing me wear this shirt. And hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you all sending me stuff. I mean, it's a blessing. I'm so thankful for that. If you wanna get on there and leave a comment or share it or subscribe to this channel, I would love it. I'd appreciate it. And let's see what we can do to grow this channel. Until next time, I love Jesus, and I pray you do too.